Hey guys, it's me again, Eric here at Mountaintop 9, and it's that time again. Time to take a look at another classic Black Sabbath album, and this time, the album that's going to be in the spotlight is called TYR. Now, this album has fascinated me for a long time. The first time I ever saw the cover, what drew me in about it, what really fascinated me, was just the darkness of it. It just has this ominous look to it. It's not cartoonish in a sense that an album cover like Forbidden or, even Born Again has a little bit more detail to it. You know, you see this demon monster baby, so it kind of strikes you in a very impactful way. It just kind of clobbers you over the head with the garishness and just how vivid it is. It's just vividly evil. Same thing with an album cover like Sabbath, Bloody Sabbath. You know, those really just batter you over the head. Something like this is more subtle. It's a low-key darkness that just kind of gets under your skin and makes you curious about, what does the music on the album sound like? I'll tell you what, this album rocks, and it rocks hard. Another interesting thing, the first time I ever saw this album, I thought it was called TYR. I didn't know anything about Norse mythology or anything of the sort the first time I laid my eyes on this album cover. So I was like, TYR? Well, I don't even know what the fuck that means. But anyway, I learned, slowly but surely, I learned more of the backstory about how this album was made and what inspired some of the lyrics on certain songs. It turns out that on the album that preceded this one, on Headless Cross, when Tony Martin was preparing lyrics for that album, he thought to himself, okay, I'm gonna write lyrics for Black Sabbath. What's Black Sabbath all about? Well, to him at the time, he thought, hey, I should write a bunch of songs mentioning the devil. So I'm gonna throw in Satan this and Satan that, and just kind of go over the top with that whole, evil thing, just the whole evil Black Sabbath angle. So after Headless Cross came out, and I gotta tell you right up front, I love Headless Cross. That is a classic album, and hey, I don't mind the lyrics on that album at all. Some people may think that the words on Headless Cross are cheesy, or from another perspective, some people are just put off by, the overt mentioning of Satan and whatnot. I don't mind it. I think it's cool. I think it fits the music. But anyway, after that album came out, Tony Iommi, he took Tony Martin aside and he said, this time, don't be so blunt. Don't write as much about Satan this time, okay? Let's try a different angle when you're preparing lyrics. Try to write about something else. Just kind of tone that stuff down. So that's what Tony Martin did on this album. Instead of writing songs about the devil, he decided to go in a different direction and start writing about mythology and stuff like that. But anyway, we'll get into a song-by-song breakdown here in a minute. The other thing I want to say real quick is the lineup on TYR is excellent, top of the line. Of course, you got Tony Iommi on guitar, that goes without saying. But we've got Martin again here on vocals, and he delivers a stellar performance. And the thing that's really important about this album is this is the last one where Martin sounded really pure and strong in his vocal delivery. There isn't anything holding him back on this album. He's still hitting the high notes. He's still laying down the harmonies really well. His voice doesn't sound weathered at all. Now, when he came back on Cross Purposes, you could tell that something about his voice had changed in that interim period. In that period between TYR and Cross Purposes, something definitely happened to his throat because he just didn't sound the same anymore. He still sounds good on Cross Purposes, but he doesn't have the same full-throated bravado that he did on here, that he displays so well on this album. And this album still stands as an amazing testament to how powerful his vocals were. Now, on bass, we've got Neil Murray. He turns in a good performance. We got Jeff Nichols on the keyboards. And of course, we've got Cozy Powell on the drums once again. And I gotta tell you, on this album, his drums are turned up loud. They really rumble on these tracks. So if you're a fan of Cozy, you're gonna get a good full dose of him on this album. But without any further messing around, it's time to get into this album, track by track. This powerful excursion into triumphant heavy metal euphoria begins with a song called Anno Mundi, a track that is applauded far and wide by Tony Martin era fans for its truly epic style and scope. Now, the first thing that you'll notice is the clean and classy sounding guitar pattern that Iommi is playing. It's really elegant stuff, and it reminds you of the classic Children of the Sea. It has that kind of feel to it. Then when Tony Martin enters the picture, he's doing this multi-tracked, high-pitched vocal thing, and it gives off this really unique effect. Really cool way to begin an album, I think. And then when the main verse comes in, you can tell that Tony Martin is going for that really powerful operatic type of approach. And I'll tell you right now, when Iommi kicks that guitar distortion on and things start to get heavy, this song escalates to a level of greatness that's really hard to explain. You've got Cozy and Neil in there, and when they come in with their drums and bass, it just really starts to kind of glide along because it couples in with that heavy guitar riff, and this song literally makes you feel like you're in a car driving along and you've got the wind blowing at your face and you're traveling to some unknown destination and the stars are shimmering in the sky and there's a full moon in the distance. This is such a vivid song, and it's such a song that's imbued with feeling and passion that it really gets to you. You can close your eyes and travel in your mind while you're listening to this song. And with Jeff Nichols on the keyboard, you know that he starts to accentuate that epic feeling that's in the air. No doubt about it. He was a master at that. And to top it all off, over all of this majestic music that we have going on here, Tony Martin is like the conductor. He's the voice at the helm of this grand journey that we're about to undertake. Now, the lyrics were apparently inspired by environmental type stuff, and but the thing is that Tony Martin doesn't clobber you over the head with any direct message about environmentalism or anything like that. I mean, a song like Into the Void and older stuff like that and Wicked World, you know, the types of lyrics that Geezer would write that would have stuff about concerns like that. He was much more direct. Tony Martin on this, he's not so much. I think they're a little bit more mystical sounding and a little bit vague. And I think that's really cool because you can kind of just let the music and just the sound of his voice carry you. It's not so much, for me when I listen to this song, these words really aren't, like I said, they're kind of ambiguous. So you can kind of take different lines and kind of interpret them however the hell you want to, pretty much. So I think that lends a more timeless feel to this song. And I gotta tell you, in that chorus section, when he says your eyes are burning, just the way he sings those lines in the chorus, this chorus is towering. I mean, it's just, it makes you feel so small in comparison. It's like you're looking up at a tall building. You can't believe how huge this chorus is. Also, later in the song, there's this really cool, dramatic part where Tony Martin is singing, "Can you tell me? Where's the glory? Ride the days and sail the nights." And underneath this, you have some nice, well-timed and high-impact Cozy Pal drum hits. And it just works so well. You are just swept up in the atmosphere of this song. All in all, as this song fades out, if it didn't move you in any way, shape, or form, then I don't know what will. I mean, I really don't. Obviously, this isn't Paranoid or Master of Reality. That isn't the type of stuff we've got going on here. This is something that is clearly different. This is the Tony Martin era of Black Sabbath in full flight, and the view from this height is stunning. Track 2 is an absolutely jaw-dropping explosion of energy called The Lawmaker. From the moment this one begins, it's literally a non-stop barrage of frenzied guitar riffing, fast drumming, and excellent vocal work. And it must be said, if you appreciate Tony Iommi lead work, then this song is one that you are going to fall in love with, because this is Tony Iommi on steroids. I mean, he shreds on this track. It puts a lot of other guitar players from that time period to shame, in my opinion. And I'm not just being biased. I know that Iommi is my favorite guitar player and everything, but really, when you stack up his work on this song against other stuff from the same time period, he is no slouch. He's really full on in this song and he's raging. And the thing about this song is it's like a nice cup of coffee. It really gets you going. And sometimes this song becomes just so frantic that you think the band is going to just go right off the rails. But somehow they keep it all in line. This is just really top of the line musicianship right here. And the vocals on here, I mean, they're just soaring. And the funny thing is that Black Sabbath is world renowned for their slow material. They're known for being doomy, okay? But this song shows when Iommi wanted to do a fast track with whatever band he had at hand, he sure as hell could. And this song, it ranks right up there. The Lawmaker, man, what a dose of adrenaline. This is a powerful track. It's very catchy. And I don't see how anyone couldn't get into this one. So this one, hey, it gets 2 thumbs up from me. Great song. The next song up is called Jerusalem. And it starts off with some reverb-soaked, thunderous drum work from Cozy Powell, and his imprint is all over this song because it has a very marching and kind of militant feel to it. I mean, it's just really powerful. It's a great drum sound, I gotta say. And you know, Cozy Powell, he was very involved with the production of this, so he got the exact sound on the drums that he wanted. And it's not dry and brittle, that's for sure, okay? I mean, it echoes off the walls and reverberates right in your brain. And the verse sections, they are just pure hard rock brilliance. Tony Martin was really on a roll. Just the inflections in his voice when he delivers certain lines. Like, I love it when he sings, "Every road that you travel on, there's a price to pay." You know, when he does that right there, "Every road that you travel on," you know how he sings it in that song. Just the way he does it. It's so catchy, it's like ear candy. I mean, the guy really had a great way with melody, with delivering the lines in a very memorable way, and it just really fit the music on here, because this is more typical Black Sabbath of this era. We've got booming production and we've got an epic feeling in the air, and the lead work on here from Iommi, it's just more typical stuff. It sends chills down your spine. It's more top of the line stuff. This is another great track. And one more thing I want to point out about this song before I move on is that Tony Martin did a version of it on his solo album, Back Where I Belong, which he released in 1992. So if you want to hear that version, check out that album. Now we've arrived at one of the best Black Sabbath songs of all time. It's a colossal work that mixes crushing heaviness with high-octane emotion. It's a song called The Sabbath Stones, and you couldn't ask for a better song, my friends. It begins in quintessential doom-laden fashion with some really pummeling riff work from Iommi. This is classic Sabbath doom right here at the start. And then when Tony Martin comes into the picture, he lets you know right away that he's going to be displaying every facet of his incredible range, because he starts off with this cryptic sounding lower register, but then he goes up into these stratospheric highs with total ease and command. It's really a nice display of metal vocal work. His prowess is top of the line in this track. And this isn't hyperbole. I'm not exaggerating. Tony Martin really gives a clinic on how to sing a heavy metal song right here. When I hear certain parts of a track like the Sabbath Stones, it just sends me away. It's like when I was talking about Anno Mundi and how, you know, when you put on that song and if you close your eyes, it kind of takes you to a different place. You kind of imagine yourself riding in a car or going someplace you've never been, and you've got the wind blowing in your hair. And just this, you know, this star-covered horizon with the vast night sky. Just an epic feeling. It's powerful. It puts power in your soul when you listen to this kind of stuff. And Sabbath Stones, it brings that feeling back. You know, the Lawmaker and Jerusalem, They were just kind of more appetizers. Great songs, full of catchy hooks, ear candy. But here on the Sabbath Stones, we're getting back to the epic flair that you had on Anno Mundi. You know, that epic, really adventurous type thing that really catapults you someplace else, okay? And man, words just fail me. That part in the song when Tony Martin sings, "Receiver of light, the kingdom of God will guide you, keep you from a restless heart." And then "Deceiver of night, the stranger that laughs within you, the reason for your restless heart." It is just so heart-wrenching. Just such powerful stuff. I mean, those are vocals, and that is power. That is true emotion. I mean, if someone came up to me and asked me, if they said, "So what's the Tony Martin era of Sabbath like? What's it all about?" I'd play them that section of the Sabbath Stones right there. I would turn that part up and just let them listen to that, okay? Because that encapsulates all of the greatness right there in that little portion. If this era of Sabbath is for them, they would know it right from hearing that section. It's that important. It's that iconic in my mind. And the acoustic sections in this song, they are a great counterbalance to the heavy and crushing parts. You know, they weave together so nicely. That's what gives it such a dramatic flair and feeling. That's what really, you need that ebb and flow. This song does that so well. Iommi also has some leads in here that remind me a little bit of Heaven and Hell. Kind of has that feel a little bit. I don't know, just it does for me. And I gotta tell you, man, this song is so good. It's so great. It's enough to bring a tear to your eye. It's just classic. So I highly recommend the Sabbath Stones. The Battle of Tyr is up next, and it begins a musical suite of 3 linked songs, because this part of the album here, these 3 songs, they cover the concept part of the album. You know, they tie in with the album cover, with the title, and the symbolism, and all of that. And all the Battle of Tyr is, though, is a short little instrumental piece, and, you know, it kind of sets the stage for the next song. This one, there's not much to say about it other than it has a dramatic feel to it, and it just acts as a nice introduction to the next song, which is called Odin's Court. This track has a very warm, melodic feeling to it. It's very inviting and soothing. Tony Iommi plays some nice acoustic guitar here. The notes ring out beautifully. Martin delivers some nice melodic vocal lines, and you've also got some swirling ambience in there from Jeff Nichols. Now, this song has no drum work at all. It never gets heavy or anything. All Odin's Court is another nice precursor, okay? It sets up the third part of this musical suite very nicely, okay? It's the calm before the storm, because the final part of this whole concept portion of the album comes crashing in like a warrior striding into battle. It's called Valhalla, and it's another rapturous slice of crushing guitar heaviness and solid Tony Martin vocal work. Now, this song isn't my favorite track on the album, far from it. I kind of like Odin's Court, you know, the thing that came before Valhalla. But I gotta tell you, the vocal harmonies in the chorus of this piece, they're great. I mean, just more great vocals from Martin here. And also, the one cool thing about Valhalla that must be said is it's a nice adrenaline rush after the understated, you know, nature of the 2 previous tracks. This song kind of gets the mood up again, it gets you moving again, kind of like how The Lawmaker and Jerusalem kind of sweep you up and make you feel good. Well, Valhalla kind of does that. It's not as good as those 2 tracks, but this ain't a bad song in any way, shape, or form. So overall, it really kind of wraps up the whole Tyr thing, the whole concept. It's a nice way to wrap it up with a bow and put some whipped cream and a cherry on top. You know what I mean? After Valhalla ends, that's not the end of Tyr. This album isn't over by a long shot. We still have 2 more tracks to go, my friends. Feels Good to Me is track 8, and this song is what many people would call a power ballad. Now, this was something that a lot of bands did at the time, you know, the power ballad. It was all the rage back then, and from what I've read, this song was included on the album because they wanted something that could be possibly like a hit single or something like that. There was even a music video made for this song. But the bottom line, the most important question is the song good? Well, in my opinion, yes. There are many positive things about this song. And first thing is first, I want to say that Tony Martin really sings this track with conviction, man. That part, just the way he sings, it feels good. It feels good to me. Just the way he does that line. And then, underneath that vocal work, there in the chorus, Tony Iommi is just bashing away on his guitar. He's got this thunderous, simple, and direct riff. And it just kind of drives it and makes you really get into it. I really like that. So you're mixing some nice passion and melody from Tony Martin, and then you've got some sledgehammer heaviness from Iommi going on beneath that. So that kind of compels you. I find that kind of thing compelling. I like that emotion, something that's in a song like Feels Good to Me. And then to top it off, Iommi has this really mournful solo in here. It just adds a nice haunting feel to the song. And overall, this song is firmly, I know that this album came out in 1990, but this track does feel like it's firmly entrenched in the 1980s. And I love that, okay? And, you know, as far as being a power ballad, as far as being like a love-oriented song, hey, there's no shame in that at all. What really matters in a song is, does it move you? Does it sound good? Does it make you feel something? When I listen to a song, that's how I judge a song. I don't judge a song based on if someone else thinks it's cheesy. If a song makes me feel good when I listen to it, that's all that matters. I don't care whether it's No One Like You by the Scorpions or Screaming in the Night by Crocus, whatever the hell it is. Someone else may think it's cheesy, but if you like it, if it's a song that gives you a certain feeling, that's all that matters. So yeah, Feels Good to Me. This is a really, really good track. You know, I wouldn't say it's like the be-all, end-all of Black Sabbath tracks. I'm not saying that. I'm not, you know, hyperbolizing or anything. But it is really good and just very evocative. This song feels good to me. Alright, my friends, we've reached the conclusion of this fantastic album, and the final song is called Heaven in Black. Now, you can't get much more Black Sabbath than that as far as the title goes. So you gotta hand Tony Martin, I'm assuming that Tony Martin came up with that song title, and you know, it's a good one. And overall, this song closes the album out on a good note. You've got more thunderous drumming from Cozy Powell in here, just rumbling, just like he has done all throughout the album. And then there's some really strong lead guitar work on here from Iommi. It's really wah pedal laced stuff, sounds great, and it really shreds. If you're looking for some really exceptional guitar soloing from Tony Iommi, look no further than Heaven in Black, because you'll get that on this track. Overall, this song just rocks. There really isn't anything to say about it as far as it being a standout track. As far as closers are concerned, this song is no Lonely Is the Word or Nightwing. It isn't anything of that stature, but it is a good way to close out a truly great album. And yeah, guys, that's what I really want to get back to. Overall, TYR is one of my favorite Black Sabbath albums. I put this one in my top 5. Like, if I'm ranking Black Sabbath albums and taking every album into account, this one is in my top 5. Sometimes it's even in my top 3. I really love this album. There's something very powerful about it. Just the production of it, the sound, it just really gets within you. The keyboards from Jeff Nichols, they take everything to another level because they add that extra layer of atmosphere. okay? They build everything up, you know? I love the way Jeff Nichols worked with Iommi. And Cozy Powell, too. I mean, I've said a lot about how excellent Tony Martin's vocals are. That goes without saying. They're just so great. But there was this great dynamic between Cozy Powell and Jeff Nichols and Iommi. The three of them created this powerful synergy. When they were working together, they came up with some truly exemplary material. And this album is a lasting testament to that. Just such a great album. And I'll tell you what, something that's funny. If you ever want to read about like behind the scenes stuff regarding this album, the best books to learn info about this album and about the making of them are, now I've mentioned this in another video, in a Tony Martin video, but I want to bring it up again because TYR is such an important album. You want to get this book by Martin Popoff, and the book is called Doom Let Loose. Now this has some great behind the scenes info about the making of TYR and about the making of all Black Sabbath albums. That's why this book is a must-have, okay? If you want to learn more about this album, get this book. Another good book for anyone who's a hardcore Black Sabbath fan or someone wanting to get into the world of Black Sabbath and know all of the tasty nuggets of trivia and just everything that there is to learn. I love going back and rereading these books. But this book is called Sabbath, Bloody Sabbath, The Battle for Black Sabbath by Gary Sharp Young. It's another good one. Now, as far as books that if you want to learn about TYR that I wouldn't recommend in that regard would be, now I hate dust jackets. Dust jackets get on my fucking nerves, so I always take them off of books because I love to read books. I don't just set my books on a shelf and leave them there. I revisit them, books that are important to me, books that I think are interesting. Now, this book is called Black Sabbath, and it's by Mick Wall. Now, this guy, he doesn't, you know, denigrate the Tony Martin era or the Ronnie James Dio era of Sabbath, but you can feel by the way the material is written and by how many pages are given to the various aspects of Black Sabbath, you can tell that this guy is biased. And what I mean by that is he's biased towards the Ozzy era. You can tell that to Mick Wall, nothing will ever come close to the original lineup of Black Sabbath, and those first 8 albums are, you know, the pinnacle of Black Sabbath, and everything after that didn't matter quite as much. Even when he gives due to albums like Heaven and Hell and such, you can still tell by the way he's writing that he's not putting them on the same level as, say, Paranoid or quintessential moments from the Ozzy era, like Sabbath, Bloody Sabbath. You know, the Ozzy Sabbath is incredibly important. I get that. But you can tell in this book that this guy is coming at it from the angle that that's his favorite part of Black Sabbath. So everything else is less than. Even the Dio era. If you're wanting to get good info about TYR in a book like this, Black Sabbath by Mick Wall, you're not going to get it in this book, okay? He glosses over the Tony Martin stuff, and I don't even feel like he gives the Dio stuff its due. But there's a ton of Ozzy stuff in here. If that's the only thing you're interested in, then by all means get this book. There's plenty of Ozzy stuff in here. Now, this book, Iron Man, the Tony Iommi autobiography. Now, in this book, in Tony Iommi's autobiography, he gives 2 pages to TYR. That's all he gives it. And the chapter is called TYR and Tired. And you get this 1 page right here, okay? And then you flip it, and it's not even a full page on the back. That's all it is. Now, how sad is that? TYR and Tired. Right there, and right there. And there we go. All done. That's all it's said about it. Now, he doesn't say anything bad about the album. In fact, he says he quite likes it. But still, 2 fucking pages, that's it. Are you serious? So, yeah. If you guys want to read, I mean, the only books I've found that go in depth about every facet of Black Sabbath is this book and this book. So I'm saying it once again, you guys, you have to get these books. Those other 2 books I showed you are good. I like them. I'm entertained by them. But they don't give justice to all of Black Sabbath's work, and it's all good stuff. Well, I don't know if I'd say 13 is good stuff, but the rest of it, awesome. Just awesome. And yeah, so I want to close out this video by saying that I love TYR. Like I said, it's one of my favorite Black Sabbath albums of all time. A great piece of heavy metal history is right here in my hands. And I suggest all of you put this album on and give it a good listen, because it's one that never goes out of style, it never gets old, and it's very impactful stuff. It really makes you feel powerful. So crank it up. And I thank you guys for watching this video. If you liked it, hit the thumbs up button and, you know, leave me a comment. Let me know what you think of this album. And guess what, guys? I'll be seeing you again next time.